A lot of the stuff he says, I'm not saying I'm in agreement with because I don't think I am. I think some of it is reaching and stretching. I took something from here that I thought was interesting because this is something that always stood in my mind as well. So let's watch it and you can see what I'm talking about.
Trump's name is also connected to the name of the Antichrist in another curious way. The word Trump actually appears twice in the King James Bible, in Corinthians and again in 1 Thessalonians. In both instances, the word Trump means trumpet. Why is this important? In the book of Daniel, the Antichrist is specifically given the name of the little horn. This is exactly what a trump or trumpet is, a little horn, both in the size of the modern trumpet as well as in ancient times the trumpet was fashioned out of the horn of a small animal. Here's what Daniel saw in his vision. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. In this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. In Daniel's vision, the Antichrist is given the name of the little horn, but we're also specifically told it has eyes like a man and a mouth that speaks great things. So it's quite clear that we're talking about an actual person. This person, the little horn or little trump, is a man with a big mouth who will boast great things.
Nobody can do it like me. Nobody. Nobody can do it like me. Honestly.
Nobody's stronger than me.
Nobody has better toys than I do.
There's nobody bigger or better at the military than I am.
Nobody loves the Bible more than I do.
Nobody builds walls better than me.
Nobody's better to people with disabilities than me. Nobody's fighting for the veterans like I'm fighting for the veterans.
There's nobody that's done so much for equality as I have.
There's nobody more pro-Israel than I am. There's nobody more conservative than me.
There is nobody that respects women more than I do. Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump.
There's nobody's ever had crowds like Trump has had.
There's nobody that understands the horror of nuclear better than me. And nobody even understands it but me. It's called devaluation. The sale of the uranium that nobody knows what it means. I know what it means.
Nobody knows more about trade than me.
Nobody knows the game better than I do.
Nobody in the history of this country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump. I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me.
Nobody knows politicians better than I do.
Nobody knows more about taxes than I do. Nobody knows more about debt than I do.
Nobody knows the system better than me.
So one thing we can learn from that is nobody does it better than Donald, you know.
Yeah. And nobody has a higher opinion of Donald Trump than Donald Trump.
Right.
That guy's ego is big as all outdoors.
And this was just some of the light stuff, but I've heard many boasts, you know, from Donald Trump himself out of his mouth, and many ways that he's been able to manipulate the situation, which I get as a president. A lot of them do that. He's the first that I've seen boast in the way that he boasts. And to me, it's just an interesting insight into that. I think that, you know, it can't be ignored, the boasting activity. Also, I'm just going to say this. We don't have to mention more about it, but Operation Warp Speed, Paladin, there's a lot of policies that are kind of scary there, guys, if we're being honest. So,
yes, sir.
All right. So John 5:43, I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. Another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Now, that's one thing I've noticed about Trump. His name is one of the most well-known names in the world, especially right now and especially during the election. Even before that, he was topping the charts with his TV shows. His name is on every tower. He makes sure to put his symbolism on everything in the world. And we'll find out a little bit more about some of the places that he's been allowed to have his symbolism at as well. David, do you want to say anything about that before I go to this? This is a video of Alex Jones saying that he thinks that Donald Trump might be the Antichrist. I don't know. And if he was controlled opposition, he didn't know it. He got sucked in. So I wanted to put this on here, and I think he had the right idea there. I think he did get sucked into controlled opposition, and I think that it's with a man of his fame, it's hard not to. So I think that he had the right idea here. But anyways, let's watch it.
But now he's transcended just being about positivity into something messianic, which I mean, if you get a snapshot of Trump, he's a dark person, but also, I mean, look, if anybody can be the Antichrist, and I don't think he's the Antichrist, but he's the type of person, also Elon Musk, I mean, there's some definite dark energy around Trump, and I know if I was ever controlled opposition, it was unwittingly being sucked into it. And I think the jury's out on Trump, but they are definitely scared of him. So.
But when you look at that and you see what he said there, to me, it's, you know, yes, it's Alex Jones. He says all kinds of stuff. He's very vocal, and, you know, been a vocal presence in the truther community for as long as we can remember. For him to say something like this after being used by Donald Trump, he even talked about January 6th, how, you know, he knew it was a setup from the get-go, and he had tried to tell Donald Trump, don't, you know, you're doing this and that, and he believed that it was set up for a reason.
Yeah.
David, you got anything?
No, I'll just hold my thoughts here.
But
for more moments.